today we're heading back into Minecraft Let's Play episode 3. Last time we were in this, we did not have the wildlife update, so okay, we're gonna go back inside. But last time we were in this, we did not have any of the frogs or swamp biomes, or nor the warden, which granted the area that I have spawned in at the time does not have those chunks loaded in, so who knows where the warden could be. But we do have one objective today, or objective, should I say, that I really want to start working on just to get a little bit going. Because I was thinking about it, and this, yeah, like this is all of our, you know, breeding rooms and all that. Like I said, we could go down through here, you know, make a chest room under here, but I don't really think that's going to follow the worthwhile design I have in mind. I was more thinking of, we could build it under there, right there. But I really want to start doing it right here. This video is probably going to be mostly uncut through all of this, just to get you guys the full fun and exploration of everything that I have to offer. And we're just going to turn that down just a little bit so you guys can more flicker and fly open. But now the place in question to put it is going to be probably right here, or even better right here, and just make this, yeah, that's going to be the idea. We are just going to place right here. Got a little bit of thing to wake up to. Alright, so the idea is to start breaking this and just go completely underground right there. I'm going to need quite a few sticks because I do plan for this room to be fairly big, and I don't want to run into any area that we have a chance of flying in onto and, well, coming out the center wall or something. I just don't really want that to happen now. So we're going to be making a whole bunch more stuff this time. More bones, some more shovels, some more pickaxes, and all the fun stuff that just comes along later. So this is 1, 2, yeah, we'll have the trapdoors placed right there, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so this is where the base will be. There's 6 blocks under, 4 blocks tall. The reason why I'm just going to put this one side for now is so we can just get that depth that I really want to have. 1, 2, 3 blocks tall. I did say 4, but 2, 3. Or actually, so 2, 1, 2, 3, yeah, 3 chests like that, spread out all throughout there. And I also do want to expand the house a little bit, but later, in a later episode. But the idea for this is to make a completely home, make it kind of sort of how we did the dungeon off to this side over there. Just lose these because it's too hard. Sort of like how we did the dungeon, just without the dye or anything. I do want to make it more of this wood, mix of cobblestone type of feel to it. Oh yes, how have you guys' day been? Comment down below how it is going. Just curious on how your guys' life is going for the moment. Let's see what you guys have been up to. I do respond to comments, but it's not enough. Obviously, there's not enough to go around, but I do like to get involved with the community and just overall a fair bit about fun with it. Or fun with you guys to say. Should we need more you? Ow. We also do need a lot more wood, which I will get in the morning. And just in case, maybe later, who knows what will happen, just expand this. Yeah, I'm going to expand this probably up to there, like connect between all 3 of these, like kind of, like, you know, like steps going, or actually, So if this is the main entrance that we cleared out last time, you could have like a giant big house up there, a little shaft to go up and down between the things, maybe a little bit of a water elevator, so it's just going up and down and not going all the way through the levees and all that. How much wood? I guess we have that. We can put that in there for now. Put that in there. Just in case, grab the apples. Oh, we got that. And also you, because they do need to add you two together, so a little bit better with the shovel. So I can, who knows? And I do want to make a little bit of other farms, like trees and all that. Just to go along, so we're not running out of supplies that are later on in the line. Because it would kind of suck if we're out of trees and would no longer be able to make anything and continue on with this beautiful series we have. It would probably be everything the rest of cobblestone, which I don't really want because we also need trees for a whole bunch of other stuff. But yeah, like I said, the plan is to go underneath us, clear out a whole big area, and see what we can do from there. Right? Yeah. There you go. Probably going to get a stack of wood and turn that into planks. So then we just have all our wood to mess with. And I might... dimension-wise for... dimensions-wise for the basement, I guess, for our wonderful, beautiful home that we're building. I guess it would have to be somewhere around. I don't want to be too small because, well, not enough storage room. But probably would be around the 12 blocks that way area, which should be enough because I do want at least a little bit of pathway to walk. Like 2 blocks. You guys will see my vision when it gets built. Maybe in the future, come up to here, or if we don't decide to do a giant thing right there. Just in case. We do honestly could just go with, yeah, just like giant chains or something coming out off to the sides and hooking up to a giant little platform up there. Just have a whole bunch of stuff like on top of it. Just do a whole bunch of amazing things. Like, I have a lot of plans with this. But however, I will be placing a sign back up there. Because I do want this to be like a mark-offable objective that we have in the future. It wouldn't be, I guess it wouldn't be floating because right here where we're standing would be the elevator plan. Suspended? Yeah, suspended house. And then we will mark that off with green as 1 times. Ow. What did I... Okay. And I'm not going to question it, but like, okay. There we go. Ow. Right, so open those. This is kind of... Okay, so for actions, I do want a little bit of starting area. Or actually, yeah, we're just going to go right off this, so 1, 2, 3... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Because then those two right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Because I want this to be 12 blocks on right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 11, and 12. Nice right there. We barely hit that, thank God. And then we have all this right here to work with. I probably will be making just a few more torches. So Alright, just make sure. Yeah, we'll just make a couple of sticks right there. Put that there. 6 up there, and now I have 3 or 4 torches to work with. Alright. So, 1, 2, 3, 4. So, chest, air, block. So, we will actually be doing not what I planned apparently, but oh well, that works out. Because this block will have to be roof block, which is fine, but because I think of where we're at, we shouldn't have too much issues running into blocks or anything. Or running off into like a cliff or something, because we are pretty low to the ground. And I think the only thing that we really have to worry about is running out into like water or something. Water's more that way than anything. Alright, so now that this is here, this counts as a 12 o'clock, so go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Okay, I thought that was done. Alright, now that we're done with that, we get to get the same here, like that would be equal. So it counts as our first block. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, so that's 5. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And if we did do this correctly, which I know this left side is, not too sure on the other side, we should run into some gravel and then our open entrance. Should. Okay, so we still have a fair bit to go. So this one is actually blocked off just fine. Alright. So now that all these are good to go. Alright, and just go through this. Because I want to get this divided down the middle. Now, maybe after all this we could make a dirt, what is it, a dirt monument or something like that. You know, like a little dirt statue to say thank you to all the lives of the dirt soldiers that have also greatly passed their lives to make ours better. Quite honestly. And there goes that. I was not too far off on the torch placement though, which really surprised me. we need to like actually you. Probably, yeah. That should be good for now. Yeah, now it is just more of just clearing everything out and getting everything prepared to place down a whole bunch of chests, and obviously for whatever else I want. Because this actually, since this is going to be a first floor, because I do want to go down more floors than just this one. Thinking of doing multiple floors, like I just said, because I'm redundant. Have this one do multiple other things, maybe a farm or something, because there is only a certain amount that you can go under to do farming and all that. So this could be like wheat, apples. We have our animal farm in the dungeon over there for easy access for the animals at least. So I'm not trying to hustle and race them down into a freaking lower area. We're gonna need 2 to do it, but still, it's a hustle. I don't think cows would fit between this, which sucks, but yeah, you gotta do it together, huh? Yeah. And there goes that. So I do just want to mostly clear out all this dirt for a little portion of it, because hi Moo Moo. Shoot. You know what? We can go down one more, right? You know? Just go down one more, right? Just so I, no. I will get working right on going down a floor. Or at least the block, sorry. Because, you know, don't really be showing off for the basement. But yeah, I think having like a portal down here, because this would be pretty sure tall enough to just barely, would be actually pretty good. Okay, yeah, I'm getting out the roof technically. Alright. I'm gonna dig out the rest of this. I do have a lot of plans for the future of Fort Gorge channel, because I do really want this to grow. Obviously, like every other YouTuber that does have a channel and does actually work hard and stuff. I do want this to grow. I do have a lot of plans for it. I do want to really start doing a lot of recording, like I've said in the past. It's just been ultimately hard to do so with everything going on around me. But hey, every challenge is overcomable, right? Unless you're sentenced life to prison, then obviously that one can't be overturned. It's very difficult to do, but it's not really impossible. Right there, so. New mobs decide to just spawn in my lovely area. They do hear an Enderman outside, which I don't like. Alright, so that's the floor. Here you go. So, remarks. Right? Chest. Yeah, 3 layers of chest, block the room. Perfect! Alright. So, now that it is cleared out for this level, if I just, like, imagine if I just forgot that those two were just never dug up throughout this whole entire thing. That would be so freaking stupid. Alright. Back onto the world. Actually, I'm gonna try and do the dirt first as much as I can. Because the dirt is pretty easy, I just don't want to go back and forth between tools the whole time. If that's even a thing, that would be really weird if it was a thing. Like, imagine it's like only listening like to really high detailed, like just really close up audio of like just Minecraft dirt. Like it's just like creeps up to like snuggle up to like this. Just listen to that ASMR. Like, you know, like if that ever existed, I would honestly kind of cry myself to sleep at that point. Like that would just be so freaking weird. So a few games are coming out in a little bit of this year, obviously. A couple of games that really seem interesting, like Arkham Knights from the Batman games. Surprisingly, if I remember correctly, I was watching a YouTube video on the games that were coming out. If I remember correctly, it's not the same company that actually made the original Batman games from like Batman Arkham, Batman Arkham Asylum. I just said that twice because, you know, why not? Batman Arkham City, or all three of those Batman games. I'm forgetting what the Batman Origins, I think. Yeah, I think the same company, or the company that made those three games, are not making the new Batman Arkham Knights. Because in the game Batman's Dead, like, it does follow off the Batman Arkham City one, the giant one, the technical newest one. At least that comes off that. But it's gonna be weird because it still has like the same. Like, it's still gonna be based off of those fighting styles, obviously a little bit more animated and a little bit more child friendly, and not as realistic realism, I guess, for the unlike the last Batman games that we've had over a couple of years. Which is kind of interesting because as far as I've been able to look upon these games, it's been multiplayer on one LAN area, or at least from the same console or computer. As far as I'm aware, it's coming out on Xbox, PC, and PlayStation. A little bit hesitant to say PlayStation, but hey, you know what they say. But we'll see in the future on how those games come out, because I'm really interested on what decisions they decided to make coming off Arkham City, the big giant one, but that one, yeah. I'm just going to keep on calling Arkham City. Because why not? Even though it's not, but why not? Because I've seen, obviously, I think a lot of people from the DC Universe fan base has seen the new gameplay and how it's done, which is fairly interesting. It's very unlike, like I said earlier, obviously different developers from the two game sets, but it's just overall pretty interesting on the design choice that they went, because it's like partial realism, partial not. Sort of like they did in the Spider-Man game that we seen a couple of years ago. It had that far reach thing, like say like an enemy was like over here and you were fighting one right here. Once that enemy down, like you'd just be able to fling over, fly into that one, and just continue off your battle from there. Which really surprises me for that feature, because like I said, they're coming off of that one last Batman game because those last two Batman games didn't have much of that feature. I know, if I remember correctly, Batman Origins had a lot of that feature where you'd be finishing up a battle or something like that, and like you'd be able to slingshot right over into another enemy and just continue defeating off enemies right there. And I think a little bit of Batman, or they did a little bit of it, I think, in Batman Arkham. Oh, okay, that's why I'm getting confused, because the new game is called Arkham Knight. It's okay. Anyways, in Batman Arkham Knight, they did a little bit of it, but in Arkham Knights, there's a pronunciation / plural that I need to do for it. Because in Arkham Knights, they put a lot of that in there, which is really because it's also co-op. So I'm curious how that's going to play out when they've decided to put in a feature like, hey, this guy's fighting this guy, don't slingshot over this guy, or if it's just going to completely invade the other person's battle. Which would kind of suck, because like if you're playing there and like you're actually pretty interested in this game, you don't want to be sitting there and your best friend just like completely invade your battle and get all the skill points or whatever, or however it's based from inside that game. That would honestly, for me, it would irritate me, because you know you're sitting there, you're fighting him, and he comes up with that one last swoop, kick or punch or whatever, it steals all your points from you. But with games today, I have high hopes, at least for developing ones, with like big brand name companies that actually do enjoy coding games and make pretty decent games. Like including the Batman games, for example, because they took a lot of heartfelt in that one, or at least in Arkham Knight, Batman Arkham Knight. To be honest though, out of all 4 of those games, obviously I haven't played the recent one, because it's not out yet, and I'm pretty sure it's not coming out until 2023, I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, it's not until 2023, or if it isn't, it's later this year, which I know everything just shrunk. Give me a second, I promise it will be fixed. When will Batman Arkham Knights come out? Or Arkham, okay, that's correct, because, you know, why not? Arkham Knights. Okay, so it's coming out later this year, so I was completely wrong about that. It was coming out October 25th, 2022, but with big games like this recently, quite a few of them have had a lot of push-out release dates. One of them being the game I'm currently playing that you guys hopefully have watched, The Quarry. Last I heard, they did a couple of pushbacks on the release date for it, which did kind of suck, because I knew a lot of YouTubers were really interested in starting to play in the game and get into the series, because a lot of Let's Plays are really based off of that type of game where you're able to make the decisions. Like the last game that I remember that was really popular among YouTube, that hit really big and sold a lot, was Detroit Become Human, which is a phenomenal game. I've personally played it myself. It's honestly really phenomenal. The design choices that they made, the characters that they had in it, were pretty amazing. I'm forgetting the one actor's name, but the old guy with Marcus, he's in the game that I recently recorded for here. It's for he's in it, The Quarry. He's also in The Quarry. He's pretty sure we haven't reached the part where he's been introduced, at least for the beginning part. Let's see what comes to that. Oh god, why did I remove that? Yeah, he comes in a little bit right next to where we ended off in the last episode. Because I just recognized from the trailer that they had released. just a little bit of fun other things. Yeah. Like I was saying, because, you know, when I talk about video games and such, Detroit Become Human, like I said, was a really big hit on YouTube for the aspect of detailing, the shadows, the texture, and the overall, like, it really, to me, it personally seemed like a really, really big open world, let's get playing, really intrigued to the story. Like, it was such a big hit that it honestly did surprise me when it first did get released. And I'm pretty sure even Detroit Become Human had a pushback release date for itself on coming out, which I don't, because with great games I think over the past 10 years right now, that's been new and upcoming, because they want so good development and all these other things. It's just they're pushing development back, and it's like, come on, like, you're telling all these peoples from multiple different fan bases and just a whole bunch of other people that, hey, this game's coming out this time, and then when you actually get to the time, they say, hey, sorry, but we aren't releasing it yet because da-da-da-da, or we're just not releasing it because property issues, or company issues, and there's no actual reason. But most of the common times I've seen, it's been dev-related issues that they're not finished with the game. They're expecting to be finished with the game earlier than what they're actually saying, which, if you're a multi-million-dollar game industry, then you're expecting a game to be developed and completed at this time and da-da-da-da-da, you probably are going back a little, or pulling that date a little bit back. Because if you made multiple games and you've done this to multiple other games, you probably should expect a little bit of a further out developer or release date. There we go. Because I remember a game, I'm like half sure that Detroit got produced a little bit late. I remember one game that I was actually really excited for that I know for a fact that got pushed back. Marvel Avengers with Kamala Khan, how the Avengers go down and all that. If you guys haven't seen that game or played it all, I recommend you should. It's actually a really nice game for the storyline. But that game got, surprisingly for that game, it only got pushed out for, I think, like 2-3 months, if I remember correctly, which honestly did suck. Because, like, if you look a couple years ago, GTA 5, right, been out for 13 years, something like that. And when they said that they were releasing the game to the public, it was released on that day. They had everything at least mostly finished and took out whatever they wanted for it, which was really nice for it because they got to play on that day. And obviously nowadays it's sold over 1 million copies, and it's one of the more popular games on the planet Earth. But like I was saying about Detroit Become Human, Carl, there we go, the old guy. I found Marcus's side of the story a lot more interesting than Kara's, or for some odd reason I can't remember his name, but the robot police officer. I found it a lot more interesting for Marcus and Kara, for the fact that Kara comes from the place of she's already been destroyed once, and she's coming back from supposed repair. That, like, she comes, like, after the dad beats up the robot, or Kara per se, she comes back from a recent repair and acts completely normal, and yada-da-da-da. It's like, I found that, like, really cool that she comes from that and goes to be her own type of character. The reason why I also found it interesting between Marcus and Kara is that, like I said, Kara came from the abusive area. The daughter was actually a robot daughter, yada yada yada. If you guys don't want any spoilers, I'd probably suggest skipping ahead. Yeah, Kara comes from that abusive ordeal, which, I mean, obviously sucks. Like, the full story, because I might as well go into it. Like I said, comes from recent repair. Like, I think one of the very first things that you do as Kara is you're sitting there watching the supposed dad come in and come pick Kara up from the repair, because they're androids, you can repair them, it's no biggie as long as you got the money and stuff like that. Like I said, Kara comes home and picked up from the repair shop. Not the best of neighborhoods, in a pretty old neighborhood. Truck still from the about like a 2015 type of truck. Normal flatbed truck, like in that type of neighborhood, pretty rural, and not the best of neighborhoods. Like I can vividly remember Kara pulling up with the red 4-door, 2-door truck, red, blue, I think it's somewhere around there. I vividly would just remember that scene in general, how much emotion it really put on, because there's construction going on next door to that area. And it just really puts it into perspective on where people come from and where they put themselves in the current day. But over time, as she's doing stuff for the dad gets drunk and high, and it just becomes like overly abusive. And Kara, over time, just feels like there's very strong connections, and finding pictures of her and the daughter crying over the dad beating her up and breaking Kara. This girl is literally traumatized from her dad, and she's been abused repeatedly. But one night, Kara and dad doesn't go over very well that night. I think he's like high on red meth, I think they call it, at least in the game. Like red crystallized meth or something. Very toxic type of stuff. And he's just sitting there high on it, and he just goes full outrage mode on it, and tells the daughter to go upstairs and sits over the sink, or something like that. And he's sitting there over the sink, waiting for, planning to do something. Yeah, he was planning to go up to her room and start beating the daughter like no other. But in the moment, in the gameplay moment, you're kind of given them, not like a choosing moment, it's kind of it has to be done, or else you fell, I think. You're given the moment to push forward the story and go deviant, as they call it. Basically, go sentient and make your own decisions, whatever, blah-de-da. And Kara rushes up there and goes to her room and comforts her, as the dad's trying to run up there with a baseball bat. Is there a skeleton in there? Okay, no, we're good. But the dad's starting, they block the door. You have multiple different options. If you find them, you can shoot them or something. But the one that I remember most vividly, because the one I chose, is you run out the window and something happens to the dad. You escape from him, you run away with her. And they're homeless for a couple days, thinking that the girl needs to eat and all that. Because, it's a little girl, she needs to eat and all that. She's going through this little area. They find a broken down car and stuff like that. You get to do a little bit of intermediate things like change hair color, a couple of things. One moment that kicks it off is that they're just really desperate, and you're given the option to steal from the store, money-wise, or candy or whatever. Yeah, I think it's some money. And the next scene that I remember is, it's still in the same area, of course. Garbage robots, or garbage androids, garbage crew, come around, and this android tells Kara of a place that she can go to get help and all that, and gives her an address to head up to. They up and leave, suspiciously, at that even. And so Kara follows the address, goes up to the building, knocks on the door, and you see this giant, big android there. I don't remember his name. It was like a nickname or something like that. I don't want to say what it is, but hey, it's a big black android, like black man. Like, you guys know, right? Yeah. But asks for help and all this, and this android sent me or something like that. They go in and wander around and say, yeah, we need help, and da 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 da. And as time goes on, the dude gets help, or supposedly gets help. Leads you down into the basement. You see like some cages and stuff like that, and, like figures of something. But they go into this room, and supposedly the people that made the androids, I don't remember the corporation for it, put trackers on the androids, so they're supposed to remove it. No, it's a memory wipe for Kara, because their androids are, it's memory based. It's, you know, it's like a, what is it? A drive, yeah, it's like a computer drive. It's able to be erased, but obviously different aspects of this because, you know, video game logic. So her memory gets erased, the girl gets pulled away, put somewhere. Next thing that you see is that you're Kara, you're acting like a robot again, you're doing service for another boss along with the other android. But it's a lot quicker this time to pull back into her normal self, Kara. As far as I remember, you just more go running around the house after a while of it, and they go through a little bit of other things. You can let in the cages down where they first gotten led. You can release some like broken up androids. Like this house just is like a maniac house. Like he's torn apart multiple androids. You can like let a giant android bear out, like a polar bear. And eventually, you're trying to escape with the girl. The android and the dude follows you and tries to shoot you. And near the very end, when the girl's trying to go, or Kara's trying to go out the back of the house, or at least obviously this is the storyline that I've chose. At the very end, Kara's trying to run out the back of the house, and just ultimately trying to get away from him. And you see something. I think something happened with the android inside the house, or something in the middle between now and then. I don't quite remember. But the android decides to step aside from Kara and not attack her or anything, and the little girl, and goes over to the dude and just yanks the shotgun away. Like literally no effort for this android. Like these androids are so freaking strong that like it's no issue for him at all. So he takes the shotgun away and threatens him while these other androids are coming out the back, and the androids just completely maul this person. Like it's not graphic or anything. It's just like, you know what the androids did, and it's just like, oh my god, like, that actually happened type of deal. And so the black android, I wish I could put a name to it, I'm sorry. The android helps out Kara and the little girl, and helps him to go somewhere, and offers to come with, and I think he goes with. Kind of seemed like a family little trio. Next parts are kind of hazy. They go to this place named Jericho, get help there, and run off. Go through the Canada borders because androids are like not allowed or something, or something around that kind of thought they were doing. So they try and escape off. They meet this one girl, or this one old lady that's helped multiple androids come on through. And like the family there, like the father died because of the android trying to protect him. It was just really awesome to see her side of the story, and that's kind of like where it ends off and about. somewhere near there, and a couple other things happen in the middle. That's not too story important. But one thing that the other android helps Carl realize is that the daughter, or the little girl, is actually a android. And they meet up at this train station. I think this is the last interaction that you have with Kara, if I remember correctly. But you meet up in a train station, and you see the dad there again. And he's just come to full realization, like, this is not my daughter. And just, like, finally gets closure with himself. And just, like, lets go of this android version of his daughter. And lets her go with Kara. And I think that's the last interaction that you have with Kara, at least for that area. And then Marcus, on the other hand, you start out as Carl's assistant because he's in a wheelchair. He's completely disabled from, I think, the waist down.
That's a snack.
But while then, like, you help him out with a few other things, like making dinner and all that. But one night, okay, before I get to this part, there's a really awesome moment with Marcus and Carl. Carl's a famous art painter in the movie, and I think he's even based off of an art painter in real life. I'm not too sure about that. But like, an epic moment happens between Carl and him, and Carl says to Marcus, "Why don't you try painting?" Like, just somewhere around that, like, a little bit of, like, enthusiasm type ordeal. And I think Marcus says, like, he makes a replica of, like, one of three things, and he's like, "No, create something new, create it with your mind," and, like, gives, like, a whole motivational speech and all that. And you're able to choose between, like, a few things, I think, and you create this awesome depiction of something from Marcus's mind. And you see Carl's son come in and just seems very agitated, not okay with himself, like, he's just all over the place, like, he's missing money for drugs. Comes in for his father for asking for more money. And I think, I don't remember exactly what happened, but Carl's son gets a little bit agitated and says, "You like him more, he was always your favorite, da-di-da-di-da." Which, in the end, you can see why, but, like, you can tell that Carl loves his son, and just overall in general. But I think the next interaction they have with Carl and Marcus is they're sitting in the painting room again, and I think, or sorry, Marcus and Carl come home from a meeting, or in, like, an art gallery or something like that, congratulating Carl on a few things. Sorry that if there was no audio, sorry about that. Probably didn't hear audio. It just comes home from an art gallery type of deal, and, like, the painting room is, there's the lights on, and just, like, it's overall strange. So Marcus goes, checks it out. The son's sitting in there, and he's, like, trying to steal a painting of his father's. And Carl comes in and accuses him of asking why. He's like, "I need the money, you never give it to me. Like, you never helped me." He's like, Carl just says, "I gave you so much money." And, like, I think something, over time, something happens with Carl, and Carl tells Marcus to stay. And again, like Kara, you're given a chance to break free and become sentient again, or not again, just become sentient. While son and father are arguing, like, I think Carl, like, starts having a heart attack or something, and the cops were called, right, from Marcus earlier. And Carl like falls over and is like extremely hurt. The sun goes right up to the, or like not right up to it, like not physically moves, but like just right to the cops, because the cops come converging in, and the sun just says, "The android did it, the android did it," and just completely blames it on Marcus for doing it, which is pretty overly stupid. In my choice, it's the most stupidest way to get the story moving along, because it's like either way, no matter what you do in that scenario, Marcus gets shot and is basically dead. The next scene that you have with Marcus, in my opinion, is one of the bigger protagonists in Detroit Become Human, because he's a leader and a whole bunch of other stuff. Next scene that you see is with Marcus is he's completely disassembled. He only has arms. He's like missing an eye. Battery's low. And a couple other things I think is wrong with him. And he's like trying to like repair himself with like all these fixed parts. And at this moment, hearing's muffled at least, but at this time, he gets his one arm back, both his legs. And he's like slowly making his way through this one little cramped area. It's just a junkyard full of dead or broken or dying androids. And Marcus is going through like this little area where it's just like a giant wall of dead and broken androids. Just like black and creepy, and like all these hands are reaching out towards him, trying to grab him. And at the very end, this one hand with a like partial torso facing out just grabs Marcus so forcefully. Like Marcus doesn't have much energy to go off, and so like he can't really do much. And the android just spits out as much energy as possible and just says to Marcus, "You need to find Jericho. You need to find Jericho." There's like sort of like repeats it over. And gives like I think Marcus pictures or something to find Jericho. And so something happens with Marcus right there, and just gets like he gets like a picture of where to find Jericho and all this. So next things that go over is he finds a battery, gets a new eyeball. Pretty normal from going on in and out there. Next time, I'm pretty sure that's like the last interaction that you have with Marcus for a while. Obviously, we're missing a third character. I just don't remember the character's name, but Connor. I'm going to dive into Connor later because I'm obviously in the middle of Marcus. Next interactive scene that you have with Marcus is he's wandering around trying to find this place called Jericho, or a person, or an android, or whatever. And like I have to solve these pictures and look for these clues, and these clues will give you another clues to look for these clues, and just like clues to lead to a direction. And over time, Marcus finds them, and he realizes, he realizes that Jericho is a place and not a person. And so he like dives right in there, and like he searches around, like finds like other androids and stuff like that. And it's just honestly pretty cool. Shoot, did this return to like normal grass? Oh. Ow. But just like returns, or like just falls right in, or something like that, and just ask like, "This is Jericho," and that's like literally where the scene ends off, which is pretty cool. And but over time, he becomes friends with these people, just kind of as figures out how it works and all that. There's like this really cool like futuristic type lady that like just predicts stuff. It's like pretty awesome.
Oh yeah.
Story on this is pretty fuzzy for me at least. But like he like leads over. Alright, that comes out to right there. Like it's just a pretty awesome story for Marcus, and he becomes like the leader of like all these robots that are trying to escape and earn their own rights because like their excuses like you've made us and now give us freedom, yada yada yada.
Straight up and down, flat on your back, on your side,
so
on your belly.
it just follows that sort of path along there,
Just know I love you.
and it's so freaking awesome. God dang it. Yeah, like there's like this giant robot war at the very end. Like overall, Detroit Become Human is a very awesome and wonderful game that I would go back and play again. Yeah, Marcus becomes like a savior or something. Like the ending scene for it is pretty insane for another game. It is. But for Connor, beginning for him was kind of fuzzy, but for Connor's story, it starts out pretty cool. Like you're looking for this guy named Hank. He's a police officer. Oh God. Ow. No. Like Connor's looking for this officer named Hank, or something like that, and just finds Hank and says that we need to go to this call about a dead man murdered by a possible android, because Hank's been put as the #1 android investigator, at least for the moment. And the point of Connor's existence is to search out and look for all these deviants for him. At least for the cops, right? Detroit police. This all takes place in Detroit. For the Detroit police, it's honestly pretty weird. Like the story details are pretty fuzzy for me. But like I was saying, meets Hank at a bar, finds him there, goes to the crime scene, and this really heavy-sided person is sitting there, multiple stab wounds in him, and you just have to find the android that did it to him. But you just have to like find the android that did it to him, which is pretty messed up. But you eventually find him in an attic, and he like begs please don't, and he gets taken away. A couple other things happen with Connor, I'm not remembering exactly on. Like there's a scene with him and Kara, like Kara's running away from something, depending on like what type of story you chose for Kara. Kara's running away, and like she has to like dodge all these cops, and Connor's there, and like, there's a possible chase with her if you get caught by one of the cops. And something like that happens, and like they go to the Cinecorp where Marcus has been, and he's made a giant announcement. And Marcus makes a giant announcement at a Intercorp's place about. There's just oh my god, hi. Just about a couple hundred other things. And just like small little details that obviously progress the thing or the story along. Yeah, this should be an issue. Yeah. But they find out a deviant there. Connor's story isn't too interesting. Like he becomes deviant later. Pretty basic, bland story in my opinion. With like a cool thought of it, like he's working for the police to catch deviants, but then becomes one himself. In the end, which I actually like, this is the very beginning with Connor and the very end with Connor is probably one of my most favorite scenes from Detroit Become Human, at least with Connor. The first scene is he's coming to another scene. Like, this is the very first scene they get with Connor, now that I'm remembering it. You come to a scene, Andrew's taking an actual little girl hostage. He's just threatening to kill her because he's become deviant, just like does nothing all wrong. And, he's thinking that his owners are trying to replace him. And Connor, you can choose a couple of things like sacrifice your life or de-escalate or something, or just a couple other small things. Actually, I'm gonna fill in the roof, so I'm just doing more blocks than actually I want to. You can do a couple things. You can sacrifice your life. You can de-escalate the situation, get the girl's safety, or the android commit suicide on himself, like by jumping off or shooting himself. Either one of those two.
Oh, look.
But it just saves the little girl if you do so wisely. And then the very ending scene is him and Hank. Depending on how you treat Hank throughout all of it, you and him actually become really great friends. Just really a lot of good things in general. I forgot a block. But at the very end, you can either you've died 100 times, and data has been copied over from the current Connor, because Connor makes a very slow progression of becoming deviant. So at the very end, it's deviant Connor versus supposedly non-deviant Connor, and is threatening to kill Hank in order to give himself over or something like that. I think you can either accidentally kill Hank or something like that, or save him. I'm pretty sure it's mostly save him that you get the better chance of. That would be one of the favorite scenes from Connor that I can remember. My most favorite scene from Kara is during their run through a mid-blizzard type ordeal. Their car stops and the car stops and they have to find somewhere to stay safe and keep the little girl, because at this point Kara hasn't realized that the little girl is a robot at all yet. And so they find this little old forgotten fairy, not circus, amusement park, this old broken down amusement park that they take shelter in and start a fire and do a couple other things there. And it's just a really nice, awesome mix between the black android, Kara, and the little girl, because you could put them in a situation where they become a family, and it's just such a cute little scene. It's honestly, for me, a really heartwarming scene to see from Detroit. My favorite scene from Marcus, I would have to say, it's one of three. It's the very end where he's becoming he really does prove his rights to everyone and says, hey, you can't do this, we are actual thinking living beings, you can't do this at all. Or a part where they're spray painting their logo on their buildings to really start showing themselves and start to get out there. Or when they're trying to steal because androids need things called blue blood. It's sort of like an oil change that they need in order to live. So they steal blue blood and can make quite a few important decisions right there. Actually, there's 4 scenes now. I'm thinking about it. Mr. Marcus has a little love connection in one of the scenes with another android, which is freaking cute. Like, they have like little ring, like the androids have like little rings on the side of their head to tell if they're android or human. Yeah, I've already gone down there. To tell if you're android or human. But during the scene, because they haven't ripped theirs off, because they do want to be known as androids. Like, blue just means that they're normal, just cruising along like normal. Yellow means that it's like thinking or processing, to be literally that, like it's processing something. Shoot, that's not what I wanted to make. Oh well. And then red is like if they're like really, really stressed, really, really aggravated. But like it's like a really good mix of yellow and red during that scene. And beautiful, like they're sitting on the boat, Jericho. Like yeah, Jericho's at an old broken down boat in the old docks. And they're just sitting on this like really awesome epic view of the area that they're in. And they share a kiss together, which is so amazing between Marcus and her. One of the first thoughts actually that came up in my mind when watching that scene is, hey, the sister's trying to get a little bit of more liking from the boss type ordeal. It's like, it was more of a joke to myself at the time. But Detroit and Become Human is epic, or not epic. It's just a really awesome overall in general game that gets to have it. Like it really does feel like it's really like it feels like you can actually explore the game within, and not just picking decisions and see what happens. One of the very first games I had issues with that sort of that had storyline decisions was Minecraft Story Mode, which really brought back the thought of storyline decision making. If I remember correctly, that was one that brought that type of game back really big, and so was the Batman one, Telltale series. But it just really felt a lot of atmospheric. Like it really did give another feeling of like you can't actually. It is sort of open world, like, or it is open world. Like it really gave the feeling of like you can actually explore, which I thought was amazing because not many games gives like those type of games gives that option. Like there's been multiple games out there where it's been just objective. You're able to go in so little area. And that's one of the things that I found really cool about Batman Arkham Asylum. Just because it was a small little game, nothing too big. It was just this really small set, which like irritated me, but like also found cool about it. Which I know is what is it? Like contradictive, I think. I don't know. God dang it. There's just honestly really cool aspect of it because it actually a lot of the areas was just mostly small and not really able to go anywhere. I think by far the one place that I remember correctly that you were able to really go around and explore and just mess around was Carl's house with Marcus, because there's a moment in there because they're androids, they can literally do anything perfectly and just have it memorized right off the top of their head. And you can mess with a piano in Marcus's house, or Carl's house, and Carl just has you play it, or like comes in and comes in and listens to you playing a beautiful melody, which is honestly pretty amazing. Actually, I'm gonna make a match check really quick. Honestly, the game is very good in a lot of aspects, but it probably right now is my most favorited story game. So far, with the problem with Corey and what I've seen for like trailers and all that is, it's a lot of down and heavy emotion sided. And unlike Detroit Become Human, there was a lot of ups, there was a lot of beautiful, even in like dark down situations that had proper lighting, proper emotion set. Just it fit all really well together. So far with the Corey is that I've seen with the beginning that I've recorded. It's a really cheerful mood at the very beginning with Max and Laura. It gets very cheerful, like they're just trying to find their way there, and obviously everything takes a turn when that ghost appears in front of them, but it's still like there's only so little parts in it that I've seen that are actual cheerfulness. Like, don't get me wrong, I know it's a horror game and all that, but Detroit Become Human was also a lot of like there was a lot of areas that just, had could have been a lot different if they really decided to go with it. Like still like the same lines, but they could have put just a whole other aspect on it. What is swimming over to me? Oh, sticks. Yeah, there's the igloo that we were at. The Corey from what I've seen is a lot more story oriented. Like, don't get me wrong, texture and all that look good and all that, but storytelling also really helps with that environment. Just most of the scenes I've seen or watched has been, you could literally set them in any other different environment and it still would have fit the basis of the game, which honestly does suck. Because it's not like, it doesn't really fit all too well. You could have collected more wood, oh well. I think they could have just done a little bit better at setting, like having the people properly fit in the setting that they're at. But hey, can't change it, I'm not a developer. There's been only a couple of games that I've actually really loved, just overall in general. Like, one that I've just recently finished, I know it's a pretty old game, but it's called Infamous. It's a really small little game, really awesome game. Came out in 2009, I think. It's really awesome. I know I even finished it recently and I don't remember the dude's name, but the main dude, it starts out with him. It's just awesome. Like, I know that's not helpful, but here, I'll go into detail because why not? We're spending a fair bit of time on building this basement down here. Wow, we are an hour into recording. Wow, Jesus. Since we've actually finished roof and wall, I'm gonna end it off here because this is an hour recording. Wow, I did not think I talked a lot for just Detroit Become Human and all that. Oh well. But since this is a surprising little cut-off little thing, this has been vlogs, and we will possibly continue this talk on video games and all that on the next episode. Bye.